Let me get that for you.
Everybody needs a helping out. If that ain't what it's all about, tell me what.
Thank you, young man.
What can I
No problem.
What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on.
I got it.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Mr. Bombastic. Hey, what is a bombastic, romantic, fantastic lover? Shaggy. Yo, this is Shaggy, Mr. Lover, bombastic, up front and personal. Let you know that I'm watching you. Carib Nation. Leave up every time. She call me Mr. Bombastic, friendly, fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
To all those who give birth to, homes to, or just give thought to people adopted as infants, thanks for considering adoption.
Lamanai comes from a Maya word meaning submerged crocodile, a spectacular archaeological site located on the east to the isolated ruin some 30 miles up the New River. Our guide, Captain Chino, is well seasoned with knowledge of the waterway and the Lamanai Archaeological Reserve.
This river is approximately 92 miles long. And it's all fresh water. It has been spring-fed continuously throughout the year. It fluctuates in the sense of having some rain in the rainy season, which is normally in between June to November, which water would go up to about 3 or 4 feet higher than where it is right now. At that point in time, you cannot find any river banks on this entire river. This is an ancient river that was known as Zulunicub before. Today it is known as the New River or Rio Nuevo. That is because of the Spanish missionaries that arrived somewhere around 1544. The first arrivals here was Father Fuensalida and Sister Orbita. They're the ones that named this river basically Rio Nuevo or New River because of the size of galleon that they had to go through this river to get to the archaeological site of Lamanai. In the near future, you're going to find that the river is extremely narrow, and that is the time when these Spanish had to reopen the river, and they thought they have done a river, which that is the time when this river have got the name Rio Nuevo. We never know what all we are going to see. It all depends on what Mother Nature have in store for us.
At almost every bend in the river, Captain Chino brings the launch to a halt and points excitedly at tangled branches overhanging the banks. He spots a river turtle perched on a tree.
Well, this is the type of turtle that we saw a lot of these type of turtle as we were coming up. The reason it is so possible for us to find this type of turtle this time of the year is because basically we had a cold front. And once we have cold fronts, they need a certain amount of temperature in their body to digest and so forth. Which means that's the reason why we saw so much of them on the logs today, which majority of the time, this time of the year, it is not so possible to find much of these turtles. But it is because of the cold front for them to be out, and that's why we saw them so very often. This is the common slider. Common slider is also known as the bocotora locally. They get a little bit bigger than this. Basically, this one is female because of the size of the tail. You can see the size of the tail is so small. The males would have a bigger tail, all right, and they would not get as large as this one. They're extremely powerful jaws. They're vegetarian and carnivorous too. They eat meat, and I don't know how comes it was so possible for me to grab this turtle out of the water just like that. And now it's time for us to release the common slider. And he's out of here. He's all the way down there at the bottom now.
Around a sharp bend, he spotted a marlet crocodile.
Marlet crocodiles that we have here would get up to 10 feet, weighing about 400 pounds, 500 pounds. Crocodiles are animals that live for quite some time. It is also an animal that can actually have a big lunch and can survive for another 2 years without eating. Crocodiles are animals that can dive for quite some time. They can dive up to 2 or 3 hours. The reason for them to dive for so long, or how comes they can dive for so long is because basically whenever they're relaxed, their heartbeat can go down to about 10 or 15 heartbeats per minute. That is like sort of dead for us. Once their heartbeat is not beating so fast, well then they don't need much oxygen. But once they get frightened or ready to attack, their heartbeat can go all the way to about 500 times per minute. That is what gives them that ultimate speed and power. They are so fast, it is unbelievable, either in the water or either on the shore. I would like to share a little findings that what I have found here on this in this river. And basically this is the obsidian core. The obsidian core, and this is basically my hobby, to dive along with the crocodiles here in this river. I have grown up all my life in this particular river. And also I'd like to share another piece that I have found in this river, down in the water, which is a jade head. This jade head is weighing about half pound. Jade is a very dense mineral that was used once for wealth. Only the wealthy people could have something like this. But of course I feel very wealthy too to have it today. And I feel so great that I have discovered or find it in the bottom of the river.
Everybody needs a helping hand. Take a look at your fellow man and tell me what can I do today.
Hey, let me get that for you.
Everybody needs a helping out. If that ain't what it's all about, tell me what.
Thank you, young man.
What can I
No
do?
problem.
What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on.
I got it.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Mr. Bombastic. We want is a bombastic, romantic, fantastic lover. Shaggy. Yo, this is Shaggy, Mr. Lover, bombastic, up front and personal. Let you know that I'm watching you. Carib Nation. Big up every time. She call me Mr. Bombastic, friendly, fantastic. Put me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
There are heroes
My dad fixed things for
whose
everyone.
names we never hear, reaching out to help their fellow man.
And me?
There are dreamers
Well, I just held the light.
who are making dreams come true, taking time to teach the children there's nothing they can't do.
the years, we fixed things for friends we knew and some we didn't. He was teaching me more than just how to fix things.
It is a bird that you can find in this river, but it is very rare to find.
Captain Chino gestures enthusiastically at a northern jacana tiptoeing across a patch of water lilies.
This is a very interesting type of bird. It is known as the northern jacana. It's the closest that we can relate to the pterodactyl because it still maintains the claws on the front part of the wings. Once it flies, it have a very beautiful yellow wing, or the primary part of the wing is yellow. Northern jacana also is locally known as the Jesus Christ bird because the people claim that they walk on water, but basically they walk on top of the leaves of the lilies here. The northern jacana characteristics is very strange because the female mates with more than 7 males most of the time, and she leave the males with sets of eggs for them to incubate, and also they take care of the young ones. She just continue having new boyfriends, which means that she is a very friendly type of bird. This is one of the few birds that the male is the one that is not as pretty as the female, because the males have to blend in perfectly with the foliage for them to survive. As you can see, there's a very beautiful bird here, which is known as the purple Gallinule, that once it is time for them to mate, the males are the ones that practice a ritual dance on the surrounding of the female, which she would choose the one that is brighter in color because, well, that one have less parasites. It is in the family of the moorhens. This particular bird, once it's hatched, it is totally black. But once they get mature, they're so pretty, as you can see this one here right now. It is also a bird that is very rare to find on this river. The reason for us to see these birds today is because the water is so low and they have to come out so far away from in between the grass for them to feed.
Soon we pass the Mennonites community at Shipyard. Its farmhouses and cultivated fields look strangely out of place in this wild tropical landscape.
These people came here into the country of Belize back in 1958. At that point in time, there was at least 1,500 of them that came into the country of Belize. The reason for them to come to Belize is because they were living in Chihuahua, Mexico before. And the government in Mexico wanted the kids to go to the local schools in Mexico, and they did not want their children to mingle with the rest of children of Mexico. So they decided to come here to Belize, and here they have their own community, away from other cultures, and they have their own schools and so forth.
After Shipyard, the river widens into the new River Lagoon, an 11-mile-long body of water fed by a maze of underwater springs and aquifers. Before long, the ancient skyline of Lamanai comes into view, dominated by its temple poking like stone fingers through the thick forest canopy.
From here you can appreciate one main temple of the archaeological site of Lamanai is straight ahead of us, which is above the canopy of the jungle. That is one of the main temples of the site. If you notice and you realize how the vegetation was as we started, it continued to be the same. But once we popped into this lagoon, which is the new River Lagoon, the vegetation is completely different. The reason of that is because all of this area was elevated gradually by the Maya people that have flourished in this area. This is a very unique site that we're visiting today because it is a site that was occupied as early as 1,500 years before Christ. That is according to Dr. David Pendergast, which was paid by the Royal Ontario Museum from Toronto, Canada, to do excavations here from 1974 to 1986. Which means that the best things that was found here, all the wealth that was found here, and 90% of it was taken back to the Royal Ontario Museum from Canada.
A strange hollow echoes about. Captain Chino docks the boat, and we set off to explore the ruins of the submerged crocodile.
In light of our recent national tragedy, many of us are understandably worried.
And we cannot allow any ethnic or religious group to be persecuted because of that fear. This nation was founded on the principles of tolerance and respect for the dignity of all people.
We'll get past this, but we must remain united.
So treat each other as you would wish to be treated, with kindness and respect.
For a curriculum guide or a community pamphlet on how to promote tolerance, contact the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding.
While in Belize, the crew of Carib Nation Television stayed at the Radisson Fort George Hotel and Marina. Overlooking the Caribbean Sea in picturesque Belize City, this 102-room hotel offers the most modern facilities in a rich classic colonial ambience. For reservation, go online at www.radisson.com/BelizeCityBZ. The Windy Hill Resort in beautiful Koya, situated on 100 manicured acres of beautiful rainforest and tropical fruit trees. It is the outpost to some of the most exotic jungle tours in Central America. For more information, log on to www.windyhillresort.com. And the Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel in scenic Bella Vista, ideally located to Maya ruins, sanctuaries, heritage sites, and the Barrier Reef. They can be reached online at www.belizebiltmore.com. Ground transportation was provided by Discovery Expedition and Yacht Expedition, and the Belize Film Commissioner. And air travel was provided by our friends in the sky, Air Jamaica.
Thanks for all the adventures we'll have. Thanks for all the ropes we'll jump, the books we'll read, and things we'll make. Thanks for all the notes we'll play, flowers we'll pick, baths we'll take, secrets we'll share, races we'll run, and smiles we'll give. Thanks for all the joy we'll bring, the laughs we'll share, and dreams we'll dream. Thanks.
To all those who give birth to, homes to, or just give thought to people adopted as infants.
Thanks.
Thanks for considering adoption.
Captain Chino proves well acquainted with the area's flora. He shows us numerous medicinal plants, including a tree whose bark is an antidote for the deadly Fer-de-Lance snake venom. Shaded paths lead through groves of mahogany, cahoon palms, and towering guanacaster trees to partially restored pyramids and crumbling residential complexes that seem one step away from being swallowed by the jungle. We stop beside a squat pyramid known as the Masked Temple to admire a spooky 13-foot high limestone mast of a man with a broad head and a flat, almost African facial features. He wears a brooded expression and a weathered headdress shaped like a crocodile jaw. This is a common motif at Lamanai. Hundreds of figurines and vessels decorated with crocodiles have been unearthed here, and many are on display in a small on-site museum. Looking around this small museum, we notice hundreds of pottery vessels, stone tools, bone tubes, and other artifacts. We learn about the different pottery styles and what the animals' heads and other motifs on these vessels represent, and how the styles of pottery changed over time. We were surprised to hear that the Maya at Lamanai began metalworking. Lamanai survived the decline that afflicted most of the southern lowland sites in the 19th century and came through this collapse with most of its political and social structure intact. When the Europeans arrived, they faced a vibrant culture that has survived in Belize to the present day. Later, we came across a troop of black hauler monkeys lazing in a fruit tree. Captain Chino warned us not to walk beneath them in case one decide to give us a blessing. The 950-acre Lamanai Archaeological Reserve provides a natural oasis for wildlife, since much of the surrounding forest has been cleared for sugarcane plantation. At least 16 troops of hauler monkeys call Lamanai home. These endangered primates travel in small groups led by a dominant male and are famous for their lion-like roar that echoes eerily throughout the canopy. Next, we continued to the High Temple, a massive structure for which construction began about 100 BC. Standing at 112 feet tall, its obvious importance at Lamanai belies the fact that the area was once a residential zone before the temple's construction. Next, we enter the Temples Plaza, at the south end of which is the ball court. Constructed in the 10th century, this ball court is perhaps better thought of as a symbolic structure rather than a functional game area. It is too small to have served that purpose. After listening to the known history of the ceremonial ball game, we walk a short distance eastward to the Lord Smoking Shell Stela, a stone which tells the story of the once great ruler and his family. Though stelae seems to be few and far between at Lamanai, this large carved stone is perhaps one of the better preserved examples of stone carving from the Maya time. Its misfortune in falling face down was actually a fortuitous event. It prevented the erosive force of weather from damaging the monument's face. A short walk from the Stela Temple takes us to the plaza, bordered by the Ottawa residential complex, as it is so nicknamed by archaeologists. The Ottawa group represents excavation undertaken in the summer of 1999, although work on the complex began in 1980. Fieldwork, directed by Elizabeth Graham, is supported by the efforts of many organizations such as the Belize Department of Archaeology, the Lamanai Outpost Lodge, Lamanai Field Research Center, and York University in Canada. Both the Jaguar Temple and the Ottawa Group reveal evidence of Lamanai's continuing survival through the years of collapse and decline of other sites. Limited use of the Jaguar Temple and continued occupation of the building of the Ottawa group date to the late 15th century. With the visit to the Jaguar Temple comes the end of our ruined tour. Back in the launch, we set out across the lagoon on the return journey. Shortly after entering the new river, Captain Chino spots an 8-foot-long crocodile sunning itself on the banks. He maneuvers the boat in closer, but our presence spooked the huge reptile. It slithers silently away and disappears beneath the murky water, confirming that this truly is the land of the submerged crocodile. On the New River in northern Belize, this is Larry Simmons reporting for Carib Nation Television. We'll see you next time.